It's happening. The shift you thought would arrive later is already inside you, and now your body is already feeling it before the date even arrives. For some people, the solstice doesn't arrive on a certain date. It leaks into the days before. Right now, whether you're aware of it or not, you're being pre-tuned. While you think you're still getting ready for the solstice is already adjusting you from the inside out. And if you've been feeling emotions that don't even seem to belong to you, waves of joy, grief, or intensity out of nowhere, keep watching, because there's one specific reason why this is happening right now. And I'll go over it later, so stay with me. Oh, and if something this week made you pause, not because it was strange, but because it felt timed too perfectly, feel free to share it. You can even leave 111s along with your comment if you want to tap into this alignment. Because it's already happening. And in a moment, I'll tell you why you might be feeling invincible 1 second and absolutely hollow the next. It's like a switch flips. You suddenly feel like you can do everything. You're bold, clear, almost glowing with certainty, and then, just as fast, it fades. Like you imagined it. That's not confusion. That's a solstice spark. It's the soul's ignition flickering, testing your alignment before it locks in. These bursts aren't random. They are previews. Brief windows where your solstice-aligned self punches through the noise. And if you've caught even one of those moments, that means something in you is already synchronizing. Don't mistake the silence that follows as failure. The engine is warming up. And trust me, if you think that's strange, wait until I tell you what's happening next. This isn't fatigue. It's stasis with a purpose. Have you been feeling like you're both wired and drained at the same time? Like your mind is sprinting laps around itself, but your body just won't move? You're not alone. And no, this isn't procrastination or laziness. What you're in right now is a spiritual hold pattern. This pre-solstice energy acts like a system check. Imagine standing on a train that hasn't started moving, but you can hear the engine rumble beneath your feet. You know something is coming. Your internal compass knows something is aligning. But for some reason, your limbs aren't getting the memo. That's not failure. That's design. It's a limbo state that demands stillness, not for comfort, but for stabilization. The energy right now is too potent to move through unconsciously. Every step taken in haste would miss the mark. So instead, your system freezes you just long enough for the next layer of energy to finish loading. You might even notice this in odd ways. You start a task, then stop. You grab your phone, then forget why. You feel like you should be doing something, but there's no true pull toward anything specific. Stillness before alignment isn't stagnation. It's sacred tension. And yes, it can be frustrating, restless, agitating. But this kind of inner lock is the universe saying, hold still, I'm aiming something inside you. Because very soon, that internal lock will click, and all that stillness will turn into motion. You won't be able to stop. Your system isn't overwhelmed, it's just set to full volume. Suddenly, the smallest inconvenience feels like a personal attack. The coffee spills and you feel like you're going to cry. A late reply from someone spirals into a full emotional spiral. Traffic, noise, even someone breathing too loud, everything feels sharper. You're not losing your mind. You're not being dramatic. Your sensitivity dial has been turned all the way up. And right now, your emotional system is responding to everything like it matters. Because energetically, it does. We are in a compression phase, and compression always heightens sensitivity. This doesn't mean you're weak. It means your inner world is picking up the signal before your logical mind can filter it. Think of it like emotional sonar, pinging off every corner of your environment, noticing things your conscious self hasn't even registered yet. This is what happens when the solstice gets close. It presses down on the atmosphere and suddenly, the internal pressure builds. Like a sealed container being shaken, you will feel it in the smallest cracks. You will respond to things that normally wouldn't register. Don't confuse sensitivity with instability. One is overload, the other is upgrade. You're being fine-tuned. And when you're in tuning mode, everything rings louder. So if you've found yourself overreacting, take a breath. That sharp edge isn't the problem, it's the instrument being sharpened. Not everything that's real waits to be looked at directly. Lately, you might have noticed it. A flicker just out of view, a ripple, a shimmer, a shape that shouldn't be there, but it is. And the moment you turn your head to focus, it's already gone. No, you're not imagining things. And no, this isn't just your eyes playing tricks on you. What you're experiencing is one of the most subtle and sacred phenomena of pre-solstice energy, the sideways transmission. Right now, the veil between seen and unseen is thinning, not ripping, not disappearing, just thinning enough to let certain fragments through. And they never arrive straight on. They come from the periphery, the edge of your perception, the place your logical mind tries to dismiss. But your energy knows better. You're catching messages in motion, encoded in movement, in presence, not in words. Some people describe it as flashes of color, shadow, or form. Others say it feels like a presence walking past. For some, it's a simple blink of pressure, like someone standing behind them just long enough for the body to notice, but not the eye. It doesn't last long, and it never gives a full reveal. That's the point. These moments are not meant to hand you a full picture. They're teasers from another layer of reality, pulling your attention sideways so your consciousness has no choice but to ask, what else am I not seeing? Sometimes, your soul sees what your eyes are still learning to believe. And it's not about fear, it's about permission. These glimmers aren't threats. They're reminders that your perception is expanding, and the solstice amplifies that expansion. Don't chase them. Don't try to control them. Just notice. Because when something arrives from the edge, it means the center is about to shift. You're not being woken, you're being welcomed. There's a reason your eyes snap open at 3 a.m. There's a reason you wake up fully alert, not groggy. No dream, no sound, just this undeniable sense of presence. Your room is quiet. Your body isn't tired, but your mind? Wide awake. Not racing, but aware. And if this has happened more than once lately, it's not random. This is solstice activation time, and your subconscious is more in tune with it than your waking self could ever be. You're not experiencing insomnia, you're responding to an energetic summons. The veil is not only thinner, it's more porous. The fabric of reality becomes slightly elastic in these hours, and those who are sensitive to energy begin syncing with something beyond the linear rhythm of day and night. It's during these hours that your body undergoes the most subtle adjustments. Realignment of energetic pathways, reconfiguration of emotional circuits, even rebalancing of your intuitive channels. You might not feel all this happening, but your system knows, and it responds by pulling you into awareness. Some describe it as feeling watched, but not by something outside. It's as if your own higher self is sitting across the room, waiting. Not urgently, not anxiously, just present, holding space while the upgrade runs in the background. 3 a.m. isn't a disruption, it's a download window. You may feel a sudden rush of ideas or an inexplicable calm. You may want to get up and write, or just lie still in the dark and listen. That's part of it. This isn't a time to force yourself back to sleep. It's a time to listen in the quiet. And don't be surprised if your dreams around this time get sharper or even predictive. This window allows you to access a thread of information that's otherwise muted during daylight hours. So if your body wakes you up again tonight, don't fight it. You're not being disturbed, you're being aligned. And what comes after this alignment? That's where things start getting even stranger, especially once the emotions start pouring in, and none of them even feel like yours. You open the bag of chips you always crave. You take a bite of that favorite snack, sip your usual coffee, try that go-to comfort meal that always hits the spot. And something's wrong. It's not spoiled, it's not burnt. But it tastes off. Too salty, too sweet, way too heavy, or just wrong. Like your mouth and your memory aren't syncing up anymore. You're not crazy, and this isn't a random appetite change. Your system is rejecting what no longer resonates with the frequency you're shifting into. As the solstice draws near, the body starts preparing before the mind can even catch up. It begins tuning itself to frequencies that match the energetic environment we're entering. And food is one of the most sensitive places this shows up. You may notice you're turned off by artificial flavors that never used to bother you. Or suddenly, the craving for heavy, rich foods vanishes overnight, like your body just doesn't want to process it anymore. And maybe it's not that the food tastes bad exactly. It's that it feels like it doesn't belong to you anymore. There's a dissonance. Your cravings are a compass, and lately, they're pointing to where you're going, not where you've been. You might start gravitating toward fresher things, or simple flavors, or even stranger, nothing at all. Some people are reporting a kind of food indifference, like the body just wants to coast lightly, float, be free from constant processing and digestion. And don't be surprised if a food you loved for comfort now feels like it weighs you down. This isn't punishment. It's a molecular alignment happening so subtly that your taste buds are just the first translators of the message. You're not on a new diet, you're on a new timeline, and your biology is trying to tell you what fits in it and what doesn't. And speaking of things that don't seem to belong anymore, let's talk about the feelings you've been carrying that aren't actually yours. What you're feeling might not be yours to carry, but you're carrying it for a reason. You wake up in a strange wave of grief, but there's no story behind it. You're walking to the store and suddenly feel this intense joy bubble up, and you don't know why. You're scrolling or doing nothing at all, and all at once, this crushing nostalgia hits. But for what? For who? For when? This is not random, and this is not personal imbalance. You are tapping into emotional weather. And before the solstice, that weather becomes wild. The solstice corridor thins the walls between individual and collective feeling. You're not just navigating your own inner world, you're absorbing signals from the collective field. The tides of emotion running through the human experience at large, they're washing through your system like currents, sometimes gentle, sometimes overwhelming. This is why the feelings don't have a source in your life. Because they're not coming from your life. They're coming from the energy grid we're all entangled in. And the most sensitive people are the first to feel it. You're the antenna, the receivers, the early translators. And while it might feel like emotional whiplash, what's really happening is that your system is stretching to accommodate more bandwidth, more of the collective pulse. Empathy isn't always emotional. Sometimes it's energetic, and it shows up before you even know what you're picking up on. You may also start noticing you feel things right before something happens, like you grieve before the news breaks, or feel a sudden wave of love and peace, just before a message from someone distant appears. These are not coincidences. This is emotional entrainment with the collective rhythm. And during solstice windows, that rhythm spikes. If you felt like your heart has been running ahead of your thoughts lately, if your mood shifts don't seem tied to your own circumstances, don't dismiss it. You're plugged in, and your sensitivity is a skill, not a flaw. And if you've been feeling too much, there's a reason for that too. But it's not overload, it's preparation. The places where energy enters are starting to hum, and they're choosing you to feel it first. You stretch your fingers and pause. There it is again. That buzzing, that prickling static, that weird little pulse in the center of your palm, or the subtle, icy pressure around your heel. You might shake it off or rub it away, but it keeps returning. And maybe it doesn't hurt, but it won't go unnoticed. These are not just nerve flares or circulation quirks. What you're feeling is the system activating. In energetic terms, the hands and feet are key entry points. Think of them as the open gates, the thresholds where subtle information, frequencies, and spiritual current begin flowing into and through the physical form. And when something powerful, like the solstice, approaches, those gateways don't wait until the date hits the calendar. They begin humming early, waking up in waves. People are reporting sharp pins and needles sensations in fingertips that vanish in seconds. A cold patch on one foot that makes no sense in a warm room. Or even this strange magnetic pulling feeling, like their palms are trying to hold something invisible. You're not being haunted, you're being readied. This is your system testing the flow. It's making sure the passageways are open, because when the solstice wave hits, it won't come in gently. It'll arrive like a surge. And if your gates are online, you'll not only handle it, you'll harness it. And here's what most people don't realize. These odd sensations aren't isolated. They correspond with movement happening in the energetic body, the way chi flows, the way spiritual electricity roots itself into form. You might notice you start holding your hands in new positions, or feel drawn to place your palms on certain objects, your bare feet on the earth, your fingers over your heart. This is your intuition steering the charge, distributing the frequency in ways your mind doesn't fully understand yet. But your body does. Your extremities are the antennae. And if they're buzzing now, it's because something's already circling you, waiting to be received. And sometimes, when your waking self resists that clarity, it comes in through the only channel that can bypass your filters, your dreams. Even if you don't remember the dream, it remembers you. You wake up feeling like something important just happened. Your heart is still racing, or your body feels drenched in a meaning you can't quite place. You try to grab the dream, but it slips through your fingers like fog. And yet, you know something was said. Recently, dreams haven't been ordinary. Even for people who rarely remember them, there's a shift. The dreamscape is darker, brighter, more symbolic. It's louder and quieter at once, like a riddle in motion. Something keeps showing up, a symbol, a sound, a person who shouldn't be there, but is. These aren't meaningless. And no, they're not just the brain sorting data. The solstice window is open now. not just as an energetic flood, but as a communication line. And the deepest part of you, the unconscious, is already tuned in. Because this moment of the year doesn't just bring energy, it brings instruction. And sometimes your waking mind isn't ready to hear it straight. So the messages come softly, through symbols, through moods, through whispers that echo in dreams. You might see places you've never been, you might meet people you've never known, but feel bonded to. Or the strangest of all, you may wake up with a knowing, not a memory, but a message that's already been absorbed, already written into your core. Dreams are the language of energy, spoken when your ego is asleep. And lately, that language is trying to tell you something big, something about the role you're about to step into, something about a choice you haven't made yet, but soon will. Or even something older, a truth you knew once and forgot. And if you're waking up exhausted even after 8 hours, it's because you weren't just sleeping. You were traveling, listening, receiving. So tonight, don't be surprised if the dream world feels thick, like it's waiting for you to enter. Because it is. And the message that arrives might change more than you think. Not everything that weighs on you is heavy. Some things are just close. There's a sensation right now that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. It's not exactly dread. It's not exactly excitement either. It's something quieter, like standing in a room and suddenly realizing someone else is about to walk in. You haven't heard a sound, but something in your body knows change is near. For many people this week, there's a persistent sense that something is looming, not in a fearful, catastrophic way, but in that deep, intuitive kind of way that makes you pause mid-thought. You might catch yourself staring out the window longer than usual, or feeling oddly braced, like you're waiting for an invisible moment to click into place. It's subtle, like emotional barometric pressure. It doesn't announce itself. It just presses. And the weirdest part? You can't explain why you're feeling this. Nothing dramatic is scheduled. No massive life event is on the calendar, but something inside of you is preparing anyway. The soul recognizes significant time before the mind catches up. That's what makes the solstice so unique. It doesn't arrive with noise or chaos. It arrives like a shift in the Earth's breathing. Gradual, magnetic. It starts weeks before the date ever hits. The gravitational pull of it starts dragging energy, memory, awareness, and timelines into position. And you're feeling that pull even now. Think of it like this. Imagine time is a string, and the solstice is the heavy pendant that slowly slides down its length. You feel the tension increase before it arrives, because it's gathering weight, gathering speed, gathering momentum. That sense of hovering over something big, that's not fiction, that's resonance. That's your field picking up on a slow-motion impact that hasn't hit yet, but is already shaping everything around it. And this week, people are noticing the symptoms of that weight. Not just restlessness, but a kind of spiritual alertness, a sense that something is preparing to land. You may even notice your plans shifting, not by choice, but by pull. Like you meant to do one thing, but life gently, or not so gently, repositions you towards something else. These aren't accidents. This is what it feels like when reality is being magnetized toward a very specific kind of alignment. Your internal compass is picking up on it, even if you can't name it. And no, it's not just another seasonal moment. This year's solstice isn't moving alone. It's tied into a broader energetic weave, one that's rewriting how people sense time, space, and even cause and effect. You might feel like something is off, but what's actually happening is that you're sinking to something more exact than you've ever experienced. People often assume Clarity comes from understanding. But right now, it's coming from pressure, not panic, not rush. Just that still, humming certainty that something big is in the room, but hasn't yet spoken. And when it does, it won't be loud. It'll just make everything fall into place. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.